Digimon Ghost Game is likely ending way sooner than most fans thought, with a new anime by the director of Digimon Tamers and Digimon Frontier taking its place 1 week after it ends. What's going on in the world of Digimon? We'll explain it all in this video and review Ghost Game's 63rd episode. Be sure to subscribe to the channel for more news, updates, and breakdowns like this. Ghost Game appears to be coming to an end. It's been announced that a new anime is taking over Ghost Game's Sunday at 9 AM Fuji TV time slot, and that new show will begin airing Sunday, April 2nd. This means that unless Ghost Game moves time slots, which is very rare, Ghost Game needs to be over on Sunday, March 26th. That'll be its 68th episode, since the show is taking a break on March 5th before airing 66, 67, and 68. While a bit surprising, given the episodic nature of the show made it difficult to gauge how far along the story was, this really shouldn't be too surprising for a handful of reasons. All of the main character evolutions have been achieved in the last few weeks, with the exception of a couple Ghoulis forms shown in the card game and Vital Bracelet. There's also the fact that Ghost Game was already one of the longest running Digimon series, with the average season lasting 50 to 60 episodes, and if it ends at episode 68, it will be the longest single season of Digimon, beating out Digimon Adventure 2020's 67 episode count. Cross War / Digimon Fusion had 79 episodes, but that was spread across 3 separate seasons. There's also the episode 64 and 65 episode synopsis, courtesy of Japanese TV guide listings and translated by With the Will, that sort of teased the beginning of the end for Ghost Game. I don't consider this a major spoiler because it's just a synopsis, but if you don't want to hear it, skip ahead 30 seconds. 64 will involve a huge increase in the number of Digimon appearing in the human world and a strange fog. Then 65 will see Hito's father finally reach back out to the kids after digital devices across the human world go offline. He's going to tell them about some black substance that is destroying the digital world and turning Digimon violent, and then our team finally decides it's time to go to the digital world themselves. These sound like they are teeing up a 3-part finale, with 66, 67, and 68 taking place in the digital world to stop the one who sent the Digimon to the human world. Hopefully we learn the truth behind the Black Agumon, Gargamon, and Growlmon, and we wrap things up nicely as we possibly can. There are some folks online who believe the show will get a second season. I find this very hard to believe. Cross Wars is the exception to the rule, and its first season was 30 episodes. I can't wrap my head around a season 1 being 68 episodes and then a second season coming later. There are also those saying that the show can't possibly be ending because there isn't enough time to wrap up all the plot points without it feeling rushed. To that point, I agree. Unfortunately, Ghost Game hasn't been all that interested in telling a long form story, and I think the ending will feel a bit rushed. The best case scenario at this point is we get a 2 or 3 part interconnected story instead of cramming everything into one finale episode. That's the most we're going to get, I'm afraid. And remember, months ago, the series composer, who is like a lead writer, stated that they were in the process of writing the climax, so the end truly is near. So what is the show taking over Ghost Game? Is it a new Digimon series like when Adventure 2020 reboot ended and we got Ghost Game? Not quite. It's a new series called Tousouchuu Great Mission, or On the Run Great Mission. It's also got a very digital science fiction vibe to it, and although it is not a Digimon show, its director, Yukio Kaizawa, directed both Digimon Tamers and Frontier. Also, its series composer wrote at least 10 episodes of Ghost Game, and its music is being led by the person who did the music for Appmon, so the Digimon franchise is coursing through this new series veins, even if it's not a Digimon show. It reminds me in a way of something like Summer Wars or Bell, that is not Digimon but so clearly has Digimon in its DNA. One other weird fun fact about Tousouchuu / On the Run is that it's actually an anime adaptation of a Japanese game show, sometimes referred to as Run for the Money, that's been airing on and off since 2004 as specials. Contestants roam around a defined area of Japan while dozens if not hundreds of hunters, people in black suits and sunglasses, are sent into the area to find and capture the contestants. Personally, the fact it's based on a game show has me slightly worried it won't be some kind of epic narrative triumph, even with the director of Digimon Tamers on board, but we'll just have to wait and see what the show decides it wants to be. Let me know what you think about Ghost Game's ending. All signs are pointing to 68 being the final episode count, happening on March 26th. With all that said, let's talk about 63 and how it chose to utilize its airtime given there are so few episodes of this show left. 63, Gluttony. Ruli goes to a cake buffet with her friends. After that, something strange happens to her. No matter how much she eats, she's still starving and nothing will satisfy her hunger. Knowing that there are only about 5 episodes left in the series, I am bringing that knowledge and sort of mindset into watching this episode. Espimon is still hanging out with Hito despite moving out last week, or temporarily moving out. It's basically an official Espimon is Hito's partner moment, not Aoi's partner, even though Aoi ended the episode asking if Espimon wanted to come to live with her last week. Not necessarily a surprise, but this is our answer, and as with Ghost Game's track record, they tend to go for the most obvious, I guess, or safe answer. Ruli's 2 friends are pretty prominent this week, and in the start of the episode, I'm hoping they get the explanation they deserve about everything that's been happening for the last 63 weeks. Ruli biting Gaomon's tail is one of the most cursed things I've seen in this show, so points there for sure. Her jaw is horrifying, and a few moments later, we even see sadness in her eyes that is really heartbreaking. The team brings Ruli to Mummymon, and it's during the inspection that her body starts glowing, her hair turns white, she's barely recognizable as Ruli anymore. Quartzmon is the gluttony villain of the week. We chase after it, and to my surprise, Espimon evolves again mid-chase. Cool, though they sort of bent their own rules a little bit. He didn't really seem to evolve in response to Hero's Digivice, he just kind of did it, but maybe we're just meant to infer that it was capable capable because Hiro was right there. And Quartzmon is stealing life energy from people when they eat the little candy-shaped parts of itself that distributed through town. That's how it really got infected. Hiro asks him to stop. It's not happening, so we get a battle, of course. I need to mention how much this guy looks like a Lilith from Evangelion here. It's a super creepy Eva-inspired design. I know Lost in Translation mode is probably pumped right now. When things are looking bad, we just kind of decide in the typical anime form that no matter what, we'll save Ruli, we won't lose. All this stuff you've heard a million times when the going gets tough. It's the punch harder trope, and it's nothing to write home about story-wise, though the fight animation is stunning as always. In a twist I was very pleased with though, Quartzmon reveals the reason why it's been taking human life energy is because it's actually hosting a ton of baby Digimon inside itself. Quote, we were suddenly expelled to the human world. I used my clones to feed them by collecting humans' life energy. Honestly, this twist that he was a protector coupled with the fact that he looks like a Lilith from Evangelion threw me for a huge loop. I loved this, not gonna lie. Quartzmon worries about how the baby Digimon will be kept safe without his protection and without stealing human life force, and our team of Ruli, Hiro, and Kyo vow to take on protecting them on his behalf. There frankly isn't a lot of reason for Quartzmon to trust them, having only just met these kids and only battled them. They could be tricking him after all, but we know obviously they mean well and they mean it, and it's a nice ending with him passing the torch to Hiro, Ruli, and Kyo to care for these baby Digimon. Then Clockmon shows up riding on Airdramon to warn us that Digimon are rapidly flooding into the world at a rate we haven't yet seen. Quote, apparently someone is telling them to escape to the human world. So this is it. This is the end game we were saying is coming. This is plot. Do I wish we got plot before endgame? Absolutely, but things are happening and will be snowballing from 64 onwards it seems. The 64 preview though, the trailer left me a little confused. It looks like we are hard pivoting back to a Monster of the Week format, which feels like whiplash based on how much of a cliffhanger this episode end had, but maybe the teaser is just hiding information and story bits like it's done in the past. So it's either withholding information and 64 will be a continuation story-wise, or 64 will be our final Monster of the Week type story before we pivot hard into the true endgame climax. This episode really came together for me in the final few minutes when Quartzmon revealed it was protecting dozens or hundreds of baby Digimon. I wasn't expecting that level of compassion to be motivating this Monster of the Week, and that coupled with the revelation that way too many Digimon are now pouring into the world was incredibly exciting. Considering this was a really centric story though, and how we saw Espimon working with Aoi last week, and we saw Aoi and Mika throughout this episode, I feel like there was a missed opportunity to do more with Ruli's two friends here. I'm not saying they need to be official Digimon Tamers or get partners, but just like Hiro and Kyo's dorm mate Nomina, these kids have been incredibly involved with so many of our paranormal adventures and deserve some type of explanation. The two girls may know more than they're letting on, but I don't love that Ruli isn't talking to them about all this stuff. She continues to keep them in the dark. All in all though, a horrifying episode of what they did to Ruli's face and arms, and the Quartzmon motivation was very strong, shockingly compassionate considering how nightmarish this monster looked. Regrettably, I'm gonna be out of town next weekend, so I can't get an episode 64 review out for you next Sunday. Instead, I'll be doing something like a new video going over the best of Digimon Con. As I'm recording this, they literally just showed Digimon Seekers, so I'll gather some info throughout the week and talk about all that next Sunday. Sorry for the episode review delay, but yeah, I won't be near a computer. There's nothing I can do about it. Okay, thanks for watching. Happy Digimon Con. That's airing right now while I'm editing the video. I'll be watching the full thing on Sunday. Have a great week, and I'll see you in the next video.